Hello students, welcome to class 11 physics. In this video we are going to discuss about the null vector and its importance of chapter 4 motion in a plane. Explain null vector. So first let us go by the word. What is null, what is vector? Vector you are already knowing. Vector is a physical quantity which is having the magnitude as well as the direction, and null means void, that means 0. So here null vector is what? A vector obtained by adding two vectors having the same magnitude and mutually opposite direction is called a null vector. That means when you take two vectors whose value is same but whose direction is opposite, then when you add these two vectors, then its resultant will be 0. And so the resultant vector by addition of two vectors having same magnitude and opposite direction is called as the null vector. A null vector is represented by O vector, or you can say it as 0 vector. Suppose you are taking vector A, right, as you can see in this figure, then minus A vector will be what? Minus A vector is having the same magnitude as vector A, but it is in opposite direction. So when you add up these two equations, we have already learned about the addition and subtraction rule, right? When we need to do the subtraction, first we need to take plus symbol and take the other vector in negative sign. So we can write like this, right? But here we are having addition of two vectors which are in opposite direction. So A vector plus minus A vector. So this becomes A vector minus A vector, and A minus A vector, that will become 0. So here the value will be 0, 0 vector. So null or 0 vector has magnitude equal to 0 and it has no direction. So null vector will be having 0 value, as you can see over here, vector A minus vector A is equals to 0. So its magnitude will be 0 and it will not be having any direction. So by multiplying 0 with any vector A is null vector. If you multiply 0 with any number, right, the answer will be 0. In the same way, in physics also, when you multiply 0 with any vector, then its resultant will be 0. That is, it will be null vector. Properties of null vector. The same that you are applying in mathematics, right? Any number plus 0 will be the same number, right? So here also any vector plus null vector will be giving the same vector, that is A vector plus 0 vector equals to A vector. Then any real number, when it is multiplied with null vector, the resultant will be null vector, that is lambda 0 vector is equals to 0 vector. Third property, when you multiply the null vector with any vector, then the resultant will be null vector, that is 0 vector into A is equals to 0 vector. So students, you may note down this definition as well as the property of the null vector. Now explain the physical significance of null vector. Now let us see what is the importance of the null vector in physics. As shown in figure, particle is at P at t equals to 0. Its position vector with respect to O is r vector. So you can see this path. This path is for the object moving. The object moves in this path. And at t equals to 0, the position of the object is P, right? That is its position with respect to origin O, that is r vector, and position of the object at P dash, that is at t equals to t, it is r dash. So particle is at P dash at time t and its position vector with respect to O is r dash vector. So the displacement of the object, that is from P to P dash, right, that is final position minus initial position. We can write it as r dash minus r. But when these particles return back to P from P dash, its displacement vector, that is delta r vector, is equals to 0. That is, when the object starts from its initial position and when it comes back to its initial position, then in that case displacement will be 0. So, such resultant vector we can consider it as the null vector. So, this is the importance of the null vector in physics. So, students, you may copy down this theory.